York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Welcome to a Thursday morning edition of the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, live from Brooks Robinson Plaza here at Wellspan Park in downtown York, Pennsylvania. I am Gary Sutton. Mark McKenzie here on our show, brought to you by Barley Snyder Law Firm, innovative legal solutions for your business. They are a law firm for today's business world. Please check them out right now at barley.com. 29 different areas that they can represent you in on various acts of business, for your local business, for your individual self. Barley Snyder, attorneys at law. I am Gary Sutton, and welcome to a Thursday morning edition. It is the 21st of August, 2025. It is 61 chilly, breezy degrees out on Brooks Robinson Plaza this morning. Tell you how bad it is. The Brooks Robinson statue had a shawl on this morning. So
a shawl.
Yeah, he was feeling a little, a little bit under the weather this morning. But anyway, it's great to have you in this morning. You can text us during the show at 833-478-4729. You can check us out at YouTube at WOYK. Each day we have a podcast of our shows. So if you want to go back over a certain guest, or you liked a certain interview, or you liked a certain thing that we did, or some piece of great music that Mark brought back, whatever it might be, you can check that out at WOYK on YouTube. You can also take a look at my podcasts, Just a Voice on Main Street, which are up on YouTube, and you can actually see those and see some of the people that I interview who are kind of interesting to me around the York area. So we have all that going for you. I have the same question up today, by the way, for our WOYK question of the day. So you can look that over again if you didn't get a chance yesterday. And you can also check out YorkRevolution.com for ticket packages coming up. The Revs dropping a tough one last night, 4-3. But it was a good game. But tonight's a rubber match on that series. So the Revs have won their last 3 rubber matches in the last 3 series. So looking to win another one tonight. And so all of that going on with you as well. But it's a Thursday morning here on WOYK. And Mark McKenzie here with us. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Yeah,
okay. And I'm glad we had this talk. Anyway, we've got all of that going on here today. And
yes, August.
Yes, August. And we're when there's dog days, the weirdest thing.
Technically, the dog days are over.
I know, but I feel like we're in kind of this weird Bermuda Triangle of, culture right now. Kids are back in school for like a week now already, and you're going like, wait a second, whatever happened to Labor Day?
Haven't got caught behind any buses yet.
I'll tell you what, though, you get around 3 to 3:30 around York, and depending on where you are, you can be sitting in line for a while.
Yeah.
Because the schools are letting out around the same time, so it's, it's a little shaky, but I'm just not used to this earliness. I think there'll come a point in time we probably don't have a summer vacation for schools.
Oh, yeah, I
think we'll get to that point. And, it's all based on the old agrarian idea anyway. But today is National Senior Citizens Day, or as we like to call it here, Thursday. 8 days to Labor Day weekend, 14 days to a holy day, the start of the NFL season. Mark, I look forward to that like no one else I know.
Watch the Pats this year.
Yeah, so he's ready to watch the Patriots this year. They have been unwatchable for a couple of years, but he's looking forward. He's a true
yes,
a fan. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, he's right there with his Patriots, and I don't know why. But
and this was before Tom Brady.
Yeah, that's right. He was back there in the days when they weren't winning a whole lot of games.
I remember. Do you remember? Well, of course you do. Kurt Hart.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Kurt was. How do I say this?
Interesting.
No, it's worse than that. He wasn't like really friendly. Always liked to put people off with his brusque, egg sucking dog kind of things.
Yeah.
and he came by it honestly. I mean, that's who he was,
Right.
But like when the Patriots got to the Super Bowl to play the Bears,
Right.
Oh, it was, it was.
He was a Midwest
Oh,
guy. Yeah, he liked the Midwest, and
it was unmerciful. He just like over.
he was
and
all over you.
right, and then the Patriots lost by at the time was the worst score. Thank God that was replaced by several other outings, but by other teams. But it is so. And I suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
Yes, you did. I remember
As Shakespeare
that.
writes.
I remember that. And
Yes.
yeah, was that when Raymond Berry was coaching the Patriots for a short time? Used to be the receiver for the Colts.
It's possible.
Yeah, they got waxed that year. I remember that, and the Bears just looked ridiculously good.
The Bears had the best defense ever.
Those were
ever.
days of refrigerator
Even-
Perry going
Yes.
into
and Dent
McMahon
and yes, the backfield and the defense was just unbelievable. And the offense wasn't much to write about, but they had a decent offensive line, and they had Walter Payton.
they Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Sweetness.
Although it's interesting that it's Jim McMahon's birthday today.
There you go.
And he was the quarterback. Look at how we came
And we're not talking
around.
about the wrestling guy. We're talking about the quarterback who wore, wore the sunglasses all the time.
Hell,
Yeah.
McMahon.
Yeah, so very nice.
So how are there's not a lot of good holidays today.
No.
So it says internet
What is
self-care
National
day.
Senior Citizens Day? Well, that's a good thing. I mean, if you're a senior citizen, you've piled up some history there, and
You know what I did? Talking about senior citizens.
Yeah.
When I was a kid,
I was a boy.
I thought 60 was old.
Oh, I'm tell you what. When I was a kid, and you saw somebody in 60, you figured they were about halfway down the grave.
Yes.
And now,
Right.
look at things now. I mean,
Yes.
people are in their 70s and they're out playing golf every day. Oh, that's me. They're out playing golf every day and being really active and maybe doing a baseball game at night on radio. And that's me.
See, and it was totally
Doing a morning talk show. That's
it was
us.
treated differently back then. It was like once you got to 65, then it was, sitting in a chair watching TV was like a good thing.
Right.
Like that was the goal. You had made it.
Now it's like, let's go. Let's get outside. Let's get working, right? Play a little pickleball.
You got to get moving.
That's
got to
exactly
keep
right.
moving.
Keep moving, America. Keep moving, America.
The national the food holiday today
Go ahead.
is maybe.
You sound down about this
I'm
already.
gonna tell you. You probably have never had it.
You've been
So-
disappointed lately with some of the food
August
holidays.
is the worst.
Yeah, okay.
August is the worst month for food
I feel
holidays.
bad when I see you like this.
Even though we had Bacon Lovers Day yesterday, I didn't have any bacon,
Yeah.
but it's
I
because
didn't
I
either.
forgot. So, but if I had remembered, I would have had some.
Right, okay.
I haven't had this in a long time.
Go ahead.
It is National Spumoni Day. Have you ever had spumoni?
I have, and I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I've changed my opinion on that.
Oh, is that so?
Spumoni by itself,
Yes.
I didn't like, but up here at
What do you have it with?
Hamir's Indian Fusion, they make a spumoni
Do they really?
with a chocolate shell around it. Dark chocolate shell around
I
it.
see.
Oh my gosh. I
Really?
got to tell you, it is my favorite dessert, period.
Is it really?
It is my favorite dessert. And I was a guy who thought spumoni, sucked.
Oh.
I didn't like that. But I tell you what, with the chocolate shell, you put chocolate around cardboard might
Well,
taste good,
but see, that's the thing.
I know.
Traditional spumoni doesn't have
I know
any
it. I
chocolate.
know it isn't, but I'm just saying it is
Yes.
spumoni.
Yes.
but it's been covered up. It's been
Yes.
hidden from your sight, and now you go and say, "I got this bomb in front of me that's made out of dark chocolate." Oh my gosh! And it mixes well with all the different spumoni flavors.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to ease it a little bit here for you. So
No.
helping out if I could.
You forget that I
You're
had,
a purist.
Well, I had worked in an ice cream warehouse for many years, and
Really? I never knew that. No.
shut up.
Okay. Go ahead.
and they actually had some specialty items.
Go ahead.
And spumoni was one of them, and it's basically fruitcake
Yeah.
with ice cream.
Yeah.
Now, granted, ice cream does make it better, but then you put chocolate, so it's it's ice cream fruitcake, and then you put chocolate.
In other words, we're trying to hide the real flavors here. It's
exactly.
It's underhanded, is what you're saying.
Now, it's interesting,
Contrived.
too. I'm just looking here. Its origins date back to the end of the 19th century in Naples, in Campania,
Right.
which is where both sides of my family is from. I have people on the grandfather's side and the grandmother's side.
Yeah, Mackenzie's a common name in Naples.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding you.
Anyway, but putting a little whipped cream on it, but it's got candied fruits and no.
People are just trying to hide the taste of
Pistachio.
it. They recognized early how bad the taste was.
Yeah, it's just not.
And they just doctored it up.
Just get some regular ice cream.
And just go eat it. Be straightforward on
Yes.
this thing. Don't be trying to hide real stuff.
If you want ice cream, get it.
Yeah. So there you have that. And I understand.
And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no other. That's it. Spumoni Day and Senior Citizens Day.
Spumoni Day and Senior Citizen Day. And that's all we've got going for us today. Well, how about this?
Yeah.
A new survey has found the perfect salary for the average American. How's that for a little, brain teaser?
Didn't you have like a story similar to that yesterday?
There was one the other day that talked about what you wanted the other person to have. It was six figures, or you said, let's go for $1 million.
Ideal, I think, is what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, these days, getting any job is a win. But imagine that 3 companies offered you 3 different salaries for basically the same job. They are A, $55,000, B, $74,000, and C, $215,000.
I'll take them all.
Okay. I bet I know which one you'd accept. B, $74,000, right?
Because it's in the middle?
According to a report, the average American says the perfect salary is $74,000. Now, it's unclear why the perfect salary amount isn't much higher, especially with how expensive everything is getting right now. But it's possible they were just asking for the sweet spot where you'd be able to make ends meet comfortably. So people were saying, well,
that's true.
What's too little? What's too much?
Right.
That said, 19% of people said they'd need to make at least $100,000. And about half of employed Americans say they should be making more to support their lifestyle. Now, 24% of people say they're unhappy with their current salary. So 69% of Americans are looking for ways to make extra money, and 32% of people are interested in starting a side hustle. And 29% of those in the survey already have a side hustle. So obviously, $74,000 stretches further in some places than in others, and it's also highly dependent on age and family dynamics, lifestyle. So what would your perfect salary be? That would be the big question.
Wouldn't it matter how many hours? Like I don't want to work full time.
Right. And I'm just the opposite. I like working full time. I just but that's just 2 different things, and
But your job isn't full time. It is a bunch of other jobs.
Well, it's this job full time, and then there's a bunch of other jobs with it that kind of go along, including all kinds of stuff. So, But yeah, I mean, but in totem. But what I did in the beginning was I said, okay, what do I need to cover the nut? What do I need to cover the way I live right now with my wife? And therefore, I had to go cover that number, and that's how I looked at it. And so I don't know how many other people look at it that way. To me, it's not really a number. It's just, okay, where are you living? What are you doing? Do you like that? Do you want to stay at that? Don't you want to stay at that? And as we get older, maybe we go with a little bit less. I don't know. But, you kind of think, well, you're retired. You're at a fixed income. You'd kind of like to, make sure you're doing okay. Not at that yet, Senior Citizens Day and all that. But anyway, we'll take a break.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Whippersnapper.
Yep. So we'll take a break. And we will come back with more here on the Gary Sutton Show. And speaking of numbers, how much we're making, how much is Stifler making from American Pie? Yeah, that's an interesting question this morning. We'll give you an interesting answer when we come back right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:18 on a Thursday morning.
Swings, lines it the other way, down the line in left field. It is down at one, hops the wall. Around third is Lewis. Davis to third. Fontana slides in ahead of the throw at second. It's an 11-game hitting streak. And the Revs are on the board. It's 3-1 here in the sixth. Swinging a rip base hit into left field. Davis scores. They are sending Fontana. The throw won't get him. He scores standing. And William Simonite ties it up. A 2-run single ripped into left. And we start over. It's 3-3 here in the sixth inning, and they have chased Henriquez from the game.
And that was all the scoring the Revs did last night. 3 runs in the sixth inning. They tied it up 3-3 against Hagerstown. This guy, John Enriquez, Mark, was pitching a whale of a game for Hagerstown last night. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen a guy pitch so fast in my life. I thought maybe it was a program one at like 9 that he wanted to get to, but he was. This guy was superb. He really was superb. He threw that fastball about 92 miles an hour, and he kept throwing the fastball a lot, and every now and then he'd mix in this nice slider, and he was really good. And the Revs caught him. They were up 3-0. They caught him in the sixth. But then they sent in 3 straight relievers, did Hagerstown, who really shut the Revs down last night. The Revs had 11 pop-outs or fly-outs last night and 10 strikeouts. So if you figure 27 outs, 18 of them were via those 2 methods of being out. So it was not the night that they had planned for. 4-3.
Well, they went down fighting. I mean,
well, yeah, it was kind of a dreary night outside, and so tonight they have the rubber match, and the first pitch will be at 6:30. We'll be on the air at 6:10 tonight, Daryl and I, and looking forward to that. And Daryl will have a nice interview with Jalen Davis tonight, by the way. So we're looking forward to that this evening. Don't forget tomorrow, ladies. Ladies, a special day tomorrow here at the stadium.
Oh?
Yeah, the ladies are getting free. Friday, August 22nd, Let's Go Girls. And you get a free crossbody bag for the first 750 ladies who come to the game.
Wow.
A free crossbody bag. And no, there is no truth to the rumor that you have to throw a crossbody block to get that bag. You just get it if you're one of the first 750.
So it's a bag that has
is that one of those strap that goes crossbody? Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Is that? I didn't know that was what it was called.
I didn't know either because I've not ever had to buy one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, but special vendor shopping on the concourse. Guys, beware. There'll be special vendor shopping on the concourse tomorrow night.
So guys, come on out.
And how about this one? Post-game jewelry find thanks to Smith Jewelers. Post-game jewelry find thanks to Smith Jewelers. That is coming up tomorrow night. And then on Sunday.
And the weather's going to be beautiful.
I know, it's going to be. And Sunday, unused ticket day. Now
that's an interesting concept. I like that.
Unused ticket day. And you say, Gary, why would we have unused tickets? Well, any 2025 unused game ticket they can be exchanged in the Shipley Energy ticket office.
Yeah, you find it in a drawer or maybe you clean it out.
I was supposed to go to the game that night. I forgot about it.
Yes.
Bring in your unused ticket. Bring it into the ticket booth right there, just right here in Brooks.
And you walk in.
You go in, and you can exchange it at the Shipley Energy ticket office. So
I like that idea.
I think that's a really nice thing.
Me too.
Anyway, we were talking about Stifler. You remember the movie American Pie?
Yeah.
And Stifler and Stifler's mom, right?
Yeah.
Well, Stifler was played by a guy named Sean William Scott. And if I asked you to name a movie that Sean William Scott was in, there's a 99% chance you'd say, well, it was American Pie.
Right.
And then if I said, now name another movie that Sean William Scott was in, you'd say, well, 74.5% chance you'd say, I can't.
But Apple Pie 2.
Very good, very good. That was good. I deserve that. But don't feel bad for Stifler. Don't feel bad for the guy who played Stifler. He's a wild man, by the way. He's doing okay. He and his wife divorced last year, and just this week, he submitted a rundown of his finances in their ongoing custody and child support battle, this Sean William Scott. According to that rundown, Sean makes, ready for this, $110,000 a month. $110,000 a month.
From the movie?
Including $45,000 in royalty payments.
Residuals,
and $31,000 in dividends and interest a month.
Dividends and interest, so he's got investments?
Yes. He also has more than $12.2 million in stocks and bonds.
A month. Yeah, that's got to be there.
And $18.8 million in property. Plus hundreds of thousands in other assets, so don't feel bad for Stifler. He's doing pretty well.
He looks like he took his money when he had it and invested it.
Now, in case you were asking,
yes,
did he do other movies? Mm-hmm. He did.
Okay.
The Rundown, I did not see that. Mm-hmm. Goon, which I also did not see. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
I do remember that one.
I missed out on that.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything.
Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, that was famous, yes.
Yeah, didn't that win like an Oscar?
No.
I'm kidding. Old School and...
Yes, Old School.
And here we go.
That was Will Ferrell.
The Dukes of Hazzard. He was in that movie.
Yes.
Yeah, apparently. So
he earned enough money to become comfortable through his investments.
Yes.
Good for him.
When I get done with this divorce, that may change a little bit. But,
well, if they're married in California, it'd be a common property.
Sure.
So they got to split it in half. You'd still do. Would you? How instead of $40,000 a month, $20,000?
Okay. Could you make it with that?
We do have some sad news this morning.
Go ahead.
Actually, from my second home state in New England, Rhode Island, where we got word about this.
Frank Caprio, who served as a judge for the Providence Municipal Court for almost 40 years, has passed away at the age of 88 due to complications from pancreatic cancer. The Rhode Island judge was best known for his syndicated TV show, Caught in Providence, which was nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award. He was elected judge in 1985 and became famous for showing compassion to people with traffic violations and other nonviolent crimes.
The fact that you said you want to get back to this country is very meaningful to me. And I think you're going to be successful. Don't give up.
I hope so, Your Honor.
Judge Caprio was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in December 2023, finishing his last radiation treatment the following May. Monica DeLuca, Fox News.
When you talk about kindness, he's one of the people that pops into my head.
That's a good one, yeah. And by the way, if you've been worried about Tiger Woods and, if he's dumpster diving, and not exactly, he just got a new job. Tiger Woods, as the golfers descend on East Lake for the Tour Championship this weekend, actually starts today.
Yes.
On the eve of the tournament, the new CEO of the PGA, Brian Rolap, met with the media discussing a wide variety of topics, including the new role for Tiger Woods. He'll serve as the chairman, this is Tiger Woods now, will serve as the chairman of a new committee that will look to improve the competitiveness of the tour. Well, he already improved that by not playing. I mean, when he was playing, there was no competitiveness.
Or he's going to watch.
Right.
He's going to watch Happy Gilmore too.
There it
for
is,
some ideas.
The committee will consist of 9 members, including 6 players and 3 business advisors. The players are Patrick Cantlay, Adam Scott, Camilo Villegas, Maverick McNeely, and Keith Mitchell, along with Tiger Woods. And they say the PGA Tour is certainly fortunate to benefit from his experience and his time and his education and his dedication to the game. That will be important to this effort. I'm personally grateful for Tiger for offering to take this on, Rolap said on Wednesday. Tiger also said this past week that he probably will never play competitive golf again. So that means by senior tour as well. So we'll hear more on that later on, I'm sure. But there you go. So Tiger Woods has a new gig. When we come back at 6:35, Chris Markowski has the same old gig, which is talking to us about the economy and taking a look at the numbers out there and letting you know where your money's going. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Is everybody dancing in here? So it's a happy place here in the morning. Mark McKenzie with you. I am Gary Sutton.
Hey, get you moving.
6:34. That's one of those songs that, you just can't sit still. You have to move.
Exactly.
Chris Markowski, I know he can't hear it right now, is probably sitting there just rocking to this song, I'm sure. Chris, good morning. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning.
Chris Markowski, the Watchdog of Wall Street, joins us here. And Everybody Dance Now is the music that's playing. It's one of those that, you can't sit still. You're up at the time of day that we're up here, Chris, and, you have to get moving. You have to get going. And today is National Senior Citizens Day, for heaven's sakes. Come on. Although you're not there yet, but
I'm on my way, like we all are on our way. But again, I want the guy who does that job that declares days.
Yeah,
Just a guy who declares days. You just you know what, we're going to do this day, National Grass Day, National Porch Light Day. I mean, we'll come up with something.
Yeah, those National Day guys. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're still living in someone's basement with an aluminum foil cap on somewhere. I don't know. I just I have a vision of that, and I either wanted to be him or I wanted to be the guy that invented the backup beep for trucks. When you're going backwards and you hear doot, 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 so I was he's sitting at home with a patent somewhere making millions of dollars, and so that's kind of where I wanted to be. But I'm not in either of those two camps, so therefore we're doing this. There you go. Hey, great to have you in this morning. I see where the Fed is having their meetings right now, and they're trying to decide what to do. But I read an interesting little statement this morning. They said participants in the meeting right now generally pointed to risks to both sides of the committee's dual mandate, emphasizing upside risk to inflation and downside risk to employment. And they said, while a majority of participants judged the upside risk to inflation as the greater of these two risks, a couple saw downside risk to employment the more salient risk. What the hell are they talking about right there?
It's funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. They're like listing all of these things that they're worried about. The Federal Reserve has become like a Greek or Italian mother. They worry about everything. They're just putting it all out there, worried about everything all the time. Thanks, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
Appreciate that. What have you done for us right now? Nothing. This is why I tell people don't pay attention to this nonsense. It's a waste of time. Even though, again, they need to talk about something on the business networks, need to cover something.
Right.
Everybody's got to meet at the old conclave out there. Nice. Jackson Hole, wow, pretty nice.
Yeah.
Meeting that they're having out there. Not too bad if you can go there. A little, economists having a little party. But what are we going to get out of this? I don't know. There was episode of South Park years ago where it was during the financial crisis where they basically had all these wizards of smart cut the head off a chicken and have it run around and fall on some spot on the board and landed on bailout. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly right. Meanwhile, getting a little bit more down to earth, there was Walter Avalos, is a DC-based seller of a large U.S. deli producer. Typically got instructions once a year to hike red meat prices. Now it's every week. I mean, you talk about beef prices. Red meat prices are skyrocketing in the United States, the world's largest consumer of red meat. And they said beef and veal prices have surged 11.3% in July alone over the year, according to the most recent Consumer Price Index report. That's nearly 4 times the price jump of food overall during the same period. So beef prices continue to jump. What's going on there?
It's the way we do food here in this country, which is completely messed up. Let's keep plowing under farms and putting up nonsensical housing developments that we don't need. And, the feed prices are going up. You can go to a myriad of different things. I don't know, let's keep doing ethanol. Let's put food into cars because, that could have been used for feed for the cows. Again, it's just the way we do things here, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially based upon the amount of land that we have and what we're capable of doing. The FDA run the stuff out of Washington, D.C., subsidize this, subsidize that. You end up with problems.
Yeah, they say that one of the drivers of spiking beef costs, too, is the drought that has ravaged U.S. cattle in key meat-producing states since 2022, which is causing cattle volumes to collapse this year to their lowest recorded levels since 1951, which was the year I was born. And now the Trump administration's tariffs are hitting, guess what, major beef suppliers such as Brazil, and are set to push prices for American consumers even higher. So here the tariffs are. again that are pushing prices higher because we're importing so much beef from Brazil. So a problem with that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he give an exemption on that? I don't even know what tariffs. There's so many of them, and I don't know what's exempt and what's not exempt. There's no way. They're going to have to build an AI machine just to track all of this stuff.
Right.
And again, I don't even know how the people down at customs even do it. I mean, their heads have got to be spinning in regards to what they're going to tariff on various different items. It's crazy.
What is the biggest thing that people are talking about that you deal with right now? The biggest concerns they have. I know you deal with a lot of businesses, a lot of people around the country, maybe around the world, and what are they talking about the most here at the moment?
It's still the uncertainty about what's going on with the tariffs, what the costs are going to be, and when the people don't believe it or not, I mean, I'm sorry, you get all the cheerleaders out there. Businesses are, many of them outside of, some of the tech and AI stuff, which is doing the drivers of a lot of things, are kind of stuck. They're not hiring. You got youth employment at, above 10% now.
Right.
Kids 24 and under, 10%. That's high. How are we going to apply AI? How are we going to cut costs? How are we going to pass costs on down to the consumer? Are we going to have to cut the labor costs? Are we going to cut CapEx? All of these things. A lot of uncertainty out there, and it's not very good for business. Let's talk AI, because everybody's talking AI every day. So you have the uncertainty of the tariffs. That was the big thing for a while. But now the AI stories that come out every day, and the uncertainty of how that's going to figure into our lives. And so you have, for example, one of the things that's happening, a lot of college attendance is down. I know here in Pennsylvania, in the Pennsylvania State, it's called the PSAC, and there's like 14 colleges, and I see the numbers down at every single one of them fairly significantly, but I also see numbers up at places like two-year business schools, places where you can kind of get into the economy right away. We've got a place here called York Technical Institute, and people are getting all kinds of degrees in like 10 weeks or 10 months in some cases to be able to get out in society right away and make some money. So you're seeing a shift in terms of how we're looking at society right now in a lot of ways. And then the AI thing is out there, adding that uncertainty to, okay, well, what's still going to be around in a few years and what's not going to be around, and how are we going to be handling this differently? So you're right. I mean, there's a whole lot of things going on right now. It's like, how many different pie plates do we need to have spinning at one time? Yeah, we really did a number on the youth here in this country with, telling them that all you need to do is go out and, spend a couple $100,000 and you're going to be good to go. That's just the reality. This could have been handled. People fail to understand that they call themselves nonprofits, colleges and universities. They're not. They're hedge funds, basically, with nonprofit status. People are finally starting to wake up to the fact that you've got to get some sort of return on your investment for the money that you spend. Many jobs out there. You could go and take some classes, but also work at the business, getting hired out of high school and basically get an apprenticeship. Many countries do that around the globe. The cost of education in this country, it's ridiculous. It really is. And again, allowing this. I mean, what other thing in the entire world are you going to allow an 18-year-old with maybe never had any work experience in their entire life to go out and borrow $200,000 and then allow them to do that? And they can't. You can't get rid of that debt in bankruptcy. That's the only reason why they're doing this. Not to mention the fact why rates are so low. If the loans were actually priced according to risk, those rates on college loans would be like credit card loans, meaning nobody would take them out. Meaning what? Colleges and universities would actually have to price their product based upon what people could afford to pay. That's the way the world is supposed to work, but it's not when you get the government involved and you start subsidizing stuff. Colleges and universities, a racket that's been going on for a very long time.
And the one point you just made, the idea of getting hands-on experience. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of local educational organizations, as I said, getting that hands-on experience right away. And we're getting back to something called practical. Practical. I want to make money. I need to get out there. I don't want to be in a lot of debt. And so I'm getting some things that I could actually afford to do in terms of going to school, in terms of getting some practical experience, maybe an intern or externship somewhere. And I'm getting out there and I'm able to put my hands on and then put my hands on some money too. For my family or my situation without having to incur all that debt and try to pay it back. And the very first thing I do is I'm, $200,000 in debt and wondering how the hell I'm going to pay it off, right?
I have interns at my company, and one of the things that they're not getting coffee, they're not doing BS work. I'm also having them study and looking to take the various different licensing exams.
Right.
You understand the hoops that these kids have got to jump through to even get it qualified as an internship, and they're going to learn more working on my business than they are at any class with some professor that's, again, never done anything real in his entire life. Not to mention the fact then they got to pay the school for those credit hours.
Right.
What did school do? Nothing. Okay, zero. So, I mean, it's just, again, it's a racket. It really is, and it's sad.
As you project with your various clients, how do you project AI into that? How do you look and say, okay, here's where AI is going to affect you down the line, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line. Do you do any of that at all? Do you have anything that you can kind of base that on? How do you look at that?
To me, it seems like it's almost like an advanced search engine to some degree.
Right.
And something that you still have to double check, and it speeds up. It's like getting a better tool for certain things, and that's how I go about utilizing. And I think many people, that's what it's going to come to. Monetizing this thing is a whole different story. We're going to see how that is going to play out. People got to remember, okay, they're spending a ton of money on all of this stuff, and people, they haven't figured out. I mean, sure, it's going to save businesses money. I mean, paralegals, you're not going to really need them anymore. You're going to need a lot less. You're basically using paralegals to basically check work to make sure things are right and accurate. Wall Street, same thing. You don't need 10 kids to put together a pitch deck for 2 weeks. You can have it done quickly, and then you have somebody review it. And that's always the case. That's just productivity gains moving forward. But you remember, there's a lot of companies, .coms that thought they were going to make money on the internet. And any company went public that had a .com attached to it. And, eventually the cream rose to the top. And most of those companies are no longer.
Right. And we saw that collapse back around 08 or whatever it was. But, yeah. So, anyway, well, it's going to be interesting to watch that. And you and I will be talking about that, I'm sure, along the way because, AI promises to streamline all these various processes. And yet I still am reminded that even with the Industrial Revolution, things like that, people said, oh, my gosh, they're taking all these jobs away. And then all of a sudden we have a whole lot of other jobs that come out as a result of that. So we'll see. And, again, there'll be a transition. And we'll see if that whole theory, that whole way of doing things continues to work that way in the future. Chris, always good talking to you on a Thursday morning. Thank you, my friend, and have a great week. I'll catch you next Thursday, all right?
Pleasure. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care. Chris Markowski, the watchdog of Wall Street, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. When we come back, we'll have some more news under the radar. And what else do we have there, Mark?
Well, do you cry easily?
Not easily, no.
I think that, but, experiences we had when we were young kind of like stay with us. So
okay.
I think this was significant in children in America.
And how about this? Locally, a big birthday coming up on August 27th. What's that all about? You'll find out when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, where it is 6:51 here on a Thursday morning.
Do you remember this?
I saw the original.
Yes.
I went to the movies to see the original Bambi.
It was on this date, actually, that it premiered in 1942.
Bambi.
Yeah, it was, well, I didn't see the original, I guess. I wasn't around in 42, but...
well, I mean, what they did was, I mean, it's a company strategy. They produce movies.
Right.
And then when it becomes a big hit, then they pull it away.
Yeah.
And they rest it. And every 7 years, they usually bring them back.
That was one of those Disney movies.
Yes.
That, we loved to watch those when I was a kid.
But you remember the mother get that gunshot? I'll never forget the gunshot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who shot Bambi? I mean,
Mom,
I know.
Mother.
You just felt awful. And speaking of which, I was driving down to work this morning, and there was a dead fawn on the road. And I got to tell you what, I truly felt bad. I mean, and it's just, you hate. Deer need to get the word. And, we have roads, we have cars, we have trucks. Maybe we need a deer crossing somewhere and just stop for a minute, let them go across. And but I tell you what, every time they're just beautiful animals, and you hate
it doesn't seem to affect their numbers. So
and I know there are people that go deer hunting and all that. I get all that. I am not one who can do that. I just can't. But I totally understand and appreciate, the fact here in Pennsylvania we have, deer hunting season and different kinds, bow and arrow and all that thing. My dad was into that. And I was one where I lived in a place called East Smithfield up in Bradford County. I mean, we were literally all but on the New York border. We were about 25 miles from Elmira, New York. That's how far north I was. Anyway, we used to have, and I did enjoy doing this. We did a lot of bow and arrow stuff up there. My dad got me this bow and arrow situation. So we go up into the woods, and you walk along the trail, and you'd have these bales of hay up there with targets on. And I could shoot targets at targets. I like doing that because I didn't kill anything.
Yeah, they don't move.
I didn't like to kill anything, and they didn't move. Yeah, that's the other part too. Stand still so I can hit you. That was good. But beyond that, I was never interested in doing that. And,
me neither.
And yet I have a great appreciation for people who do, because we need to keep the herds down and so forth. I get all that, but
here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
All right. It's an old school kind of skill, right?
Right.
You're back in the day, you needed it because there weren't any grocery stores.
Well, that's it.
Right. So
man went out, hunted down the prey, and brought it in. So
it's a little bit of an anachronism these days since there's food everywhere. But speaking of food, you ever been on a cruise ship, the midnight buffet?
I've been on a cruise ship, but I've never done the buffet.
Yes.
Never went to a buffet.
I will say this, that the midnight buffet in the old days, back in even into the early 90s, was a thing to see.
Yeah.
I mean, they really pulled out all the stops as if you were hungry at midnight.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, here's what happened. Well, maybe you will believe it. And Carnival isn't the classiest of the cruise lines.
Right.
But anyway.
Cruises are expected to provide a relaxing relief from the tensions of daily life. But it was a far cry from that when a massive melee broke out aboard a Carnival cruise ship Monday at the late night buffet in an apparent dispute over chicken fingers. The whole thing captured on a now viral video that depicts guests punching, shouting, and knocking each other to the ground as security members responded. There's been no comment from Carnival Cruise Lines on this incident, although Carnival Cruise Lines has a zero-tolerance policy for disruptive behavior and violence. Disruptors can be charged a $500 fine and face a possible lifetime ban. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
I am not surprised at all, having seen buffets on cruise ships. I tell you what, people go up to these buffets and you watch them coming back and they got piles of food. You want to say to them, hey, you can go back.
Yeah.
You can go back.
Exactly.
You don't have to try to get everything piled on.
And you can go back multiple times. Yeah. So, if you wanted to, yes.
When I was on the cruise ship, I lost 7 pounds. I walked every day. I never went to the buffet. I kind of promised myself I wouldn't do that, and I never did. I went up one night to see it, and I saw this. I can absolutely understand how they would have a melee over chicken fingers or anything else.
It's hard to believe.
You barely want to put your hand out. You're afraid it'll get bit.
So disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. By the way, August 27th.
Yes, his birthday. Yes.
100th anniversary of The Strand. The historic Strand Theater will commemorate its 100th anniversary on August 27th. I think Jim McClure told us about that last week. And it marks the first of many events during the season-long centennial celebration. Now, the theater will feature a free Community Day celebration September the 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., open to the public, and a once-in-a-century gala concert will be held September 20th with Broadway icon Sutton Foster and Kelly O'Hara, accompanied by the York Symphony Orchestra in September. So,
cool.
It's always been a standout theater. Actually, for a while it wasn't. And it kind of closed down, and then they reopened it, and we've been taking care of it ever since. Yeah.
Hey, what is the opposite of a brawl on a Carnival Cruise midnight buffet?
I don't know, sleeping?
I would say this is the exact opposite.
Pope Leo XIV delivers this message.
Invito tutti fedeli a vivere la
The Pope wants Catholics and others of religious faith to observe a day of fasting and prayers for peace in Ukraine and other war-torn countries. The date is set for this Friday, August 22nd, which he pointed out is a special feast day dedicated to the Virgin Mary. The Pope has been calling for ceasefires in Gaza and Ukraine and for dialogue to achieve peace. The Pope also has some key appointments, including special audiences for the Vatican's 2025 Holy Year and the September 7th canonization of the Catholic Church's first millennial saint, Carlo Acutis. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Yeah.
Exact opposite.
Yeah, the exact opposite is right. But, the buffet thing, I was just sitting here thinking about that why would you...
Lobster tails. Okay, maybe lobster tails.
Fight over a lobster tail?
Prime rib.
Would you fight over any food? I mean, is there any food that you would fight over?
Coconut cream pie. I mean, baked Alaska. I mean, something special.
Yeah.
But chicken tenders.
I know. What are you going to do?
How embarrassing.
By the way, two places closing down here. Kind of sad. The Bobcat Creamery is going to be closing down Saturday, September 27th over in Manchester. It used to be the tropical treat when I was a kid growing up. I lived in Manchester.
I remember that.
And it was like a place you went for ice cream, and it was a hangout, it was all that. But the Bobcat Creamery opened up on the same property and has been helping students be employed for a number of years. Been a place for ice cream and dining, and it's going to be closing September 27th. Kind of a sad thing. And then the Shangri-La Chinese restaurant has been open for 36 years over on White Street. That's closing. I stopped in there the other day and paid my respects. And, so the times they are a-changing, Mark. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK and also around the area. We're going to come back with a lot more right here, right after this on the Gary Sutton Show. It is WOYK on a Thursday morning where it is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
It is a Thursday morning here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, and it's all brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law, with over 29 different disciplines that they deal with in Pennsylvania and Maryland, and over 130 plus lawyers. That's right, 130 plus lawyers. They are getting the job done for people and businesses all over the place right now. And you need to find out more about them by going to barley.com. If you have need of legal services, pretty good chance they have an area that covers you, especially when it comes to business. They have innovative legal strategies and solutions that will help you and your business. Right here in York, they're located at 100 East Market Street. You can give them a call today at 717-846-8888. That's 717-846-8888. They are open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays, and you can find more about them at barley.com. That's BARLEY.com, and they are the proud sponsors of our show each and every day, and we are so proud to be twinned with them. This hour of the Gary Sutton Show brought to you by Accountability for Life, AFL. Now, they're committed to preparing and mentoring at-risk adolescents for lifelong success, using basically an athletics-based platform to educate them on all kinds of old strategies and old values that actually work in this country still to this day, fundamental behaviors, concepts, actions that have the power to define one's course in life. In other words, teaching kids how to be accountable for their actions and what they do. You can find them right now at www.aflyorkpa.info. That's www.aflyorkpa.info. They have a place located right out there at 755 Vogelsong Road, right here in York, Accountability for Life. And Coach Russell Stoner, who's a head coach at William Penn of York, or York High as we call it, 717-577-0306. He got things started with them, and I'll tell you what a job they are doing. And there are ways you can help as a community make this thing even bigger and stronger and better than it is. They're helping kids get scholarships. They're helping kids do better in this classroom. They're helping kids do better in terms of responsibility. And they could use your help, too, all of us in the community. It's a very worthwhile endeavor. Accountability for Life, AFLYorkPA.info. WOYK News Time is 7:07 here on a Thursday morning. We welcome in, as we always do this time, Joel Sears, who is our policy guy here. And he likes to break down policies and actions of government that are going on that are affecting you and me on a daily basis. Good morning, Joel. How are you?
Doing well, Gary. How about you?
I am doing great, and it's always good to have you. And I look forward to this every week because I never quite know exactly what you're going to be hitting, but you keep your eyes on things and like to put the nuts and bolts together to try to make a little sense out of it. So what do you have for us here this morning, Joel?
Well, we took a little bit of a walk down memory lane. I want you to put on we're going to go through the Wayback Machine.
Okay, all right.
And I want you to be back at Southern teaching.
Okay.
Think about the classroom and the challenges in the classroom back then.
Right.
And then we're going to come forward, and we're going to see some changes that are rather shocking. And, well, I'd like to talk about what you would do as an educator to try to take care of these problems.
Okay.
So we're not going to go too far back. I'm going to go back 10 years.
All right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about test scores. And I'm going to focus on math because we are, in fact, in the tech age.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody will complain, I guess. I should say everybody. But a lot of people, when I have conversations, say, Joel, you got to understand kids are more than a test score. I get that. And you get that. You taught real people.
Right.
You weren't teaching kids to take a test. To the extent that they did well on the test, that was a reflection on both them and you, in my opinion.
Correct.
How I see the relationship between the students and their teachers, especially the good ones. As I go back to 2014, looking at math, looking at 8th grade, which is really the one that troubles me the most, there has been such a dramatic reduction in those 10 years. It's almost incomprehensible. The percentage reductions range anywhere from 50% to 80%. 90%, in fact, in the city. I'll give you some real numbers to think about. The last published results for 8th grade math, this is a real thing, came out at the end of the 2024 school year, was published early in the 25 school year.
Right.
York City's mathematics proficiency in 8th grade was 4.7%.
Wow.
4.7%. 10 years prior to that, it was 61.3.
Okay. Wow.
Now, some might say, wow, it must have been something wrong with the measuring device. There's something really wrong with this picture. The highest performing in the county, York Suburban, had a 95.2% proficiency rate 10 years ago. It is currently 45.8.
So a similar drop-off right there as well. Even though they were much higher, they're still down at 45%. And then the other one, 45 to 4.
It's really, those figures are shocking. And when you look at the proficiency throughout the county right now, it averages about 35%.
Good grief. All right. So,
and averaged something over 80% 10 years ago.
Gotcha.
So you ask yourself, what's going on? Well, in mathematics, there was a recalibration of the test. But since that was done, there hasn't been any improvement. And second, of course, was COVID. I've gone back and, agonized over this. Most of the COVID learning loss has been mitigated, which is interesting because it's kind of languishing where it was before. Things were not in good shape before COVID. They've recovered to about the pre-COVID level, and that's about it, Gary.
Wow.
So the question is, what do you do about it? And this is not just mathematics. The performance in the English language arts and in science are not as dramatically bad, but they trend in the same direction.
Right.
Instead of a 50% loss, it might be 30 or 20, but it's still a loss. The scores are not trending up. The question is then, well, all right, what's going on here? Everybody likes to talk about root causes. I mean, that seems to be the catchphrase, right. What's going on. In our school district, and I have a feeling it's the same across the county and probably in most of the suburban school districts around the state, the catchphrase now is the changing demographic. Now, this one really troubles me. If the changing demographic is the reason why the test scores are going down, to me that means there's something wrong with the teaching model.
Well,
with the way we approach education.
Yeah, why would changing demographic? What does that mean? That to me those are code words. They need to be undecoded, don't they?
Let's get it. All right, let's go undecoded.
Okay.
I'm going to look at it from the standpoint of racial and ethnic makeup.
Okay.
That's about as raw as it gets.
Yeah.
Not trying to draw any causal information, just a statement of fact. In the 2014-15 school year, York Suburban's white population was 76.3% of the total. The non-white was 23.7. Last year, it was 61.2 and 38.8. So there's been a pretty dramatic shift.
Oh, okay.
Hispanic population went from 5.8% to 16.6%. Black population 6.1 to 9.1. And the Asian held firm at around 4%. So to say that now the changing demographic is the latest scapegoat, the question then is, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
This didn't happen overnight. If you it was a steady change from one percentage to another. 10 years prior, the school district was about 82% white.
Right.
So it's a gradual change, a shift in the makeup of the student population as it relates to race. Does that matter?
Well, you'd say on its face, no. I mean, does it matter as far as people? No, it doesn't matter as far as people. Does it matter as far as where you have been environmentally in terms of what school district? Because that can happen anytime, white, black, or indifferent. I mean, but the bottom line is, where did you come from? And maybe the other thing that you'd throw in here is, how many people are moving in now who maybe came from a different culture, maybe don't speak the language, and English as a second language comes into play. I mean, you got a lot of different variables, it seems to me, that you can throw in there.
No question. And you have the economic variable.
Right.
Our district, like many in the suburban ring, has gone from about 14 or 15% on free and reduced lunch to more than 55%.
Wow. Yeah, and that does make a difference. Yes.
They are certainly challenges. The question then is from the standpoint of delivering education. This didn't happen overnight. And yet the performance of the kids in the district has continued to decline. The only thing I can conclude from that, Gary, is there's something amiss in the way we teach the kids. They need more intense interventions. That's one way to put it.
So what are you looking at as the main culprit here? I mean, I can hear it lurking in your mind there that there's a main culprit in how we're teaching. So what is it in how we're teaching right now that's causing this marked decline?
I think it's that we're hanging on to the past. We're in the Wayback Machine. Walk into a classroom and see if you can tell the difference in the approach to teaching. There's certainly a lot more going on in the classroom. There are more teacher's aides. There's more time dedicated to mental health and those sorts of things. Another one of the jargon deals is this thing called SEL, social emotional learning.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that. That are we doing more of that? Because I can remember when we did curriculum and when we taught, we had objective concepts. First of all, concepts. Then you had objectives for your class every day. Then you had the activities, things you had to carry out the objective. Then at the end, you had the summary. You had to make sure that you did that. And it might be that day or it might be over 2 days or whatever. But you had measurable things you wanted to look at. And then you went, how are you going to measure that? Through tests and quizzes and ascertaining that through the questions that you ask and all that kind of stuff. But that was, to me, it was a very disciplined kind of thing that you had to do. And it had nothing to do with social. I mean, for example, I taught history. The best thing I've ever had said to me was people didn't know where I stood because history was history. And you taught that, but that was in my own discipline, my own area. I didn't teach math. I didn't teach science or English, but I taught history. And so, there was a demand. And yet at the same time, I also asked kids to spell correctly. I asked them to make sure that they could write in a sentence. I corrected those kind of things when I corrected tests. So, I'm looking at it from a nuts and bolts, old time, when I was a boy kind of look. About a minute left in this segment. Your thoughts?
Well, my thought, Gary, is that we're really missing I guess I'd say the mandate of public education, which is to educate the public, not to just provide a daycare center for the public.
Correct.
These kids can't come out, especially today, in today's world, with what it takes to succeed in the workplace, to transition to the military, to go to a trade school, to go to college. We as a society are really in trouble, and we're spending more now than we've ever spent on public education.
Well, and now
our district costs have gone up 67% in those same 10 years.
Now, is
67%, Gary?
Is the reason for that, and maybe we can take this up next week a little bit, is the reason for that in part because, and again, I hate to sound like I'm pointing to something generally because it doesn't happen in every situation, the disintegration of the American family. How much are you picking up where the family used to be the primary educator, and now you're looking at the situation where you say, well, the school has to do this, they have to provide breakfast, they have to provide all these different things, where the family once, that was just the thing you did. And now it's a whole different thing. Maybe we can pick some of that up next week and continue to talk about this, because I think it's a really important subject that you're on right here. And I think we need to get a little bit more down into the onion here if we can do that next week. Does that sound like a good one?
Sounds fine, Gary.
Let's keep it going. Joel, I appreciate the work you're doing on this. There's a lot of things that go into this. It's not one simple answer. And Joel and I and you will continue to try to figure it out here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Joel, thanks so much for the hard work. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Gary.
Joel Sears here every Thursday morning at 7:05 as he breaks down policy and what policy is more important than educating our kids. What product is more important to put out there than an educated future citizen, right? We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. We've got Fox Sports coming up next, plus maybe what happened with the Revs last night and a few other things here that are on our plate. We'll keep on going right here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is 7:18 on a Thursday morning right here on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
Line off of Ohtani's leg, and everyone's going to be safe. And now, the attention to Shohei, who was hobbling. That liner got him square in the leg.
Ouch. Line drive right off the thigh.
Slightly above the knee on the outside. 93.7 off the bat of Arcia. I would be guessing that he's probably not going to continue as a pitcher because you don't want to have any issue with your legs that then affect your delivery and your arm. We will see. He's trying to walk it off. Looks like he wants to convince Dave Roberts that he's okay.
On Spectrum Sportsnet LA, Shohei Ohtani finished the fourth inning for the Dodgers against the Rockies, but then left the game as a pitcher. He batted in the fifth inning, but sat out the rest of the way. Ohtani allowed a career-worst 9 hits. The Rockies got 5 earned runs off Ohtani in only 4 innings. Shohei took the defeat. The Rockies beat the Dodgers 8-3. LA manager Dave Roberts said Ohtani escaped the line drive without any bone-on-bone contact and should be fine to play when the Dodgers resume their schedule tomorrow versus the second-place Padres. San Diego got within 1 game of Los Angeles in the NL West. Gavin Sheets hit 2 of the Padres' 4 home runs in an 8-1 jolting of the Giants. Still a game-and-a-half lead for the Astros over the Mariners atop the AL West. Both teams lost. The Astros dropped their 4th game in a row. The Mariners lost their 5th straight. Houston swept by Detroit. The AL Central leading Tigers topped the Stros 7-2. The Mariners crushed by the Phillies 11-2. Trey Turner had 5 hits for the NL East leaders, whose Kyle Schwarber broke a tie with Shohei Ohtani. For the National League leading home run, Schwarber hit his 45th, and he drove in 5 runs to increase his Major League leading total to 109 RBIs. You can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. By the way, the Revs lost last night 4-3 to Hagerstown. So the rubber match, the third game of the 3-game series being played tonight, that game will be on radio as well at 6:10. Daryl and I will come on live, and then at 6:30, which beats the alternative, by the way. At 6:30, the first pitch will be made, and the Revs trying to win their 4th straight series in a row. And looking forward to that game tonight. But there's still room out here at the stadium. We'd love to have you out on a Thursday night. And do want to remind you, ladies, that tomorrow night, the first 750 ladies to come to our game. Now, it says here, ladies get in free. Yeah, but they have the cross-body bag for the first 750 ladies only tomorrow night. Free cross-body bag. Right here at Wellspan Park. Also, special vendor shopping on the concourse. Did someone say shopping? Yes. So if your husband comes, give him some Valium before he comes in and calm him down. Plus, they have a post-game jewelry find thanks to Smith Jewelers. All that tomorrow here at the park, at Wellspan Park. And then on Sunday, if you have an unused ticket, you didn't get a chance to go to a game, you wanted to go, maybe there was a rain out one night, whatever it might have been. You have an unused ticket that could have been used but was not used, bring it to the Shipley Energy ticket office, and you can convert that into a ticket for that day. Yeah, any 2025 unused game ticket can be exchanged in the Shipley Energy ticket office, and the game starts that day at 1 p.m. on Sunday, August 24th. That's this coming Sunday. So all of that going on out here at the stadium. But tonight we got a game. 6:30 is the first pitch, and we'd love to see you out here at Wellspan Park, right here on Brooks Robinson Plaza. I talked about a couple businesses that are closing a little bit ago, Mark, but I also like to talk about some of the good news, businesses that are opening. Citizens Bank building right up here on Continental Square. It's a building that has sat there for a number of years. The former Citizens Bank building is, and I was reading this the other day in the Daily Record, is going to undergo a major facelift, transforming it into a hotel and restaurant. Ooh. Yeah, now the project is expected to take several years to complete, but in early August, there was an outfit called Investment Real Estate Group of Companies, and their founder and CEO, John Gilliland, and his wife, Denise, bought this thing, and they gave a tour of the former bank, and they shared their vision for the future hotel and restaurant. I mean, this place has got some of the ornate ceilings in, things like that. We talked about the Strand. It's that kind of look on the inside on their ceilings and everything. They also have a 40-foot barrel-vaulted set of ceilings in the main entrance, which they plan to restore to perfect condition, where the anticipated restaurant will sit. And despite sitting vacant since 2012, the three-story, 25,000 square foot building featuring Greek and Roman-inspired architecture is still holding up remarkably well. And as you go inside and you walk toward the back of the restaurant, you'll find the old safe made by the York Safe and Lock Company, the largest producer of locks and safes in the country between World War I and II, and that is still there. And John Gilliland said, "I've always wanted to own a round vault door." He and his wife have dined at restaurants where they were seated inside vaults, and while this space isn't large enough to accommodate multiple tables, Gilliland hopes to use it as a wine vault and host tastings. So there's something to look forward to right here in York off Continental Square, a new restaurant and hotel.
I just wonder, they just had the renovation for Yorktown, right. And is there that big of a need for hotels?
Well, I think they're trying to get more and more people downtown. They're trying to get more and more lodging downtown and obviously events to go to downtown. So, I guess as they do the demographic studies, people are looking at this and saying, yeah, we're trying to make the downtown salient again. You think back in the 60s and 70s, the downtown was where you went for everything. And then around the 70s, it moved out to the urbanization and moved out to suburban. And then, of course, then you had malls spring up all over the place. And a lot of the downtown shopping went to malls. And so now I think there's a move to get back downtown again. I'm kind of in boutiques in a lot of ways, but I think there's a move to try to get people to come back down and experience the, not just the government stuff, which is here, but also the entertainment stuff like where we're sitting right now.
I would think that the thing that's really needed is living space, not hotel space.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's an investment, worthy of an investment, but a big empty building that's been sitting there for more than a decade empty. People could make that a home, have apartments and that kind of thing.
Well, I know the old Colonial is exactly that. It sits right there off the square right now. That's a big old hotel, and they've got a number of, residences in there right now. Yeah. So they've done that to some degree, but you're right. Concerns to bring up, and will you bring the kind of business to downtown? I'll tell you what, when you come down here on First Friday and stuff, there's hope. But that's people coming in and going out.
Yeah.
So we'll see, what happens with this kind of project. By the way, this hour brought to you by Accountability for Life. And I'll tell you, we're going to talk about people doing some good for the community right now. How about Russ Stoner and all his people and educators who are putting together curriculums to try to help kids who are at risk. It's committed to preparing and mentoring at-risk adolescents for lifelong success. And they do that through various kinds of teaching of core values that were a big part of their grandparents' and parents' lives. They provide coaches, educators, and other community-based partners with a character building resource toolkit aimed at promoting the importance of accountability in all areas of a student-athlete's life. Now, Coach Russ Stoner, who's the head football coach over at York High, you can give him a call at 717-577-0306. Develop this whole thing, and they are working hard. They can use your help, though, York. Give them a hand. Give a call today to Coach Russ at 717-577-0306 or go find out more about Accountability for Life at www.aflyorkpa.info. When we come back, Dennis Owens of ABC 27 News joins us. Where's the budget? We want to know. Maybe Dennis can help us. All here on The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Yo, fellas, y'all ready to do this?
Yo, what's up, guys? What's up, man?
Boys are in effect. Yeah, and it's about time. Yo, let's rip this up.
Boys the man. Boys the man. Boys the man.
The Boys to Men, huh?
Motown Philly.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite groups. I went to see them at the York Fair the one year, and I was really looking forward to the concert because I really liked their harmonies. And the screaming by the kids that were there drowned out a lot of the singing. You could hardly hear it. It was the most obnoxious thing I've ever heard. And these guys are really good. They were really good. I mean,
the Beatles went through that.
Yeah. But these kids screaming the whole time. I was like, stop it.
New Kids on the Block. I remember when they came, it was unbelievable.
Just quit it. I mean, it was not
too late. It's already.
I know it's done now,
Yes.
but it was like an entire concert ruined. I could just now barely talk about it. I was still so shocked.
Apparently.
Anyway, you could see.
Yes.
Anyway, welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. My friend Dennis Owens from ABC 27 News here this morning. Good morning, Dennis. How are you?
Well, good morning, but you sound like the guy that screams at kids to get off his lawn.
No, I usually just take the baseballs. I don't. No, I don't. No, I am not at that point. You go to a concert. Like, see, I got this crazy idea that you pay for a ticket, you go to a concert, and you get to hear the concert. Now, that's just me. I realize, and people say, well, you're just old. No. And I guess what else? I don't go to a concert. They made seats so you can sit down and watch the concert. I don't go there to stand up the whole time. I just don't. And so I guess I am older. Today is Senior Citizens Day, my friend. So there you go. So I'm celebrating appropriately. But anyway, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm actually in the car. You caught me in the car. I'm on my way up to the Scranton area. I'm going to get, with my photographer, Joe, we're going to get a look at a marijuana growing facility. They grow marijuana for medical marijuana, but obviously they're supportive of Pennsylvania at some point moving to legalizing recreational marijuana.
Right.
There's going to be a state lawmaker there as well. One of the lawmakers who has a bill, her name is Abby Major, state representative from Western PA, has a bill to legalize it. It's not going to happen anytime this year or in the near future, but I think it might be in Pennsylvania's horizon and in the future. I think it's fair to say it's more of a question of when, not if. But that when, as we know in Pennsylvania, can be drug out for a couple of years. We still have an undone state budget, and we also have an official large candidate. There's a guy named John Bentry from Westmoreland County, by the way, who is running for governor. But Stacey Garrity, the state treasurer, threw her hat into the ring this week. So it's been a bit eventful, though not so eventful on the budget front. We still don't have one of those.
Well,
June 30th.
And that was my big question this morning. Where is the budget? I'm so mad at our legislature and our governor. Republicans and Democrats alike, does not matter to me. They all get painted with the same brush on this one because they didn't do their job. And this idea, and you and I have talked about it to some degree, but this idea, for example, I know here in York County, we're into various reserves right now. And they plan for this kind of thing, and yet the reserves are supposed to be for, I'm thinking to myself, hurricanes, acts of God, emergencies, not people who didn't do their job. I mean, for example, recreational marijuana has been part of the talk about this budget. SEPTA has been a part of it. We've had a whole lot of other things about how much money we're spending. Are we going to spend some of the rainy day fund? All that kind of stuff. That's stuff that should have been talked about in February and March seriously with a sense of urgency. And now there isn't any sense of urgency anymore. I mean, and the idea that this is the way we do business in Pennsylvania, to me, is just disgusting. And I find myself getting more furious about it every single day. And people say, well, it's just the way they do things. Well, maybe the way they do things is wrong, and someone ought to call them on it. I guess maybe at the ballot box is the easiest thing. But your thoughts on that this morning, Dennis?
Well, I think I'm in favor of a bill that definitely lawmakers and the governor should not get paid if there's a budget standoff, and no retroactive pay after it gets done if it's done late.
Amen.
Done.
Amen.
period. Now, many of them probably don't necessarily care about missing a couple of paychecks, although that would catch some people's attention, I think. And it's just, you're not doing your job, you shouldn't get paid. I don't know why that bill's not been introduced. You mentioned some of the schools with the reserves. Frankly, they're the lucky ones. I'm looking at Steelton High Spire up here that has been taking out loans with interest and fees in order to pay the bills. They got bills they got to pay, and that money should have been flowing in by August 1st, and it's not. And that's actually a real negative thing.
And by the way, retroactively, they do have to be paid back. So, that's see, there, and you just described one of the things that's making me upset, that districts cannot plan their budgets when people do not get their budgets done on time and say, we're going to be sending you money, and here's how much it's going to be coming this year. That plain and simple. I mean, so this idea that they continue to get away with this every year, and then they said, well, we're standing up for our principles. Well, stand up for your principles in February. Stand up for your principles in March. Yeah.
Well, here's a budget story I want you and your listeners to be aware of. We kind of broke it yesterday, but Pennsylvania has what's called the Independent Fiscal Office. And basically, they do take the politics out of whatever the policy is. We want to know what the numbers are on it, or whatever the budget bill is. What's the real impact? They try to estimate impacts. Well, the big, beautiful bill that passed in Washington, D.C., has a couple of tax provisions in it for businesses, and I'm not going to bore you with the accountancy. I'm not going to give you inside baseball on that. It has something to do with speeding up deductions, but the bottom line is the Independent Fiscal Office is saying the state is going to get $700 million less in corporate net income taxes because of these provisions in the big, beautiful bill. So that's a $700 billion hole that just got blown into the state budget as the negotiators are still trying to figure out, what they're going to do. Having less money is certainly not what they want to be hearing. You haven't heard much about it. The report kind of just got released a little more than a week ago, and they're still trying to analyze, the budget negotiators, that is, still trying to analyze exactly what the heck's going on. But if the Independent Fiscal Office is right, that's not good news, for a budget that hasn't seen much good news. Right.
You're exactly right. Now, I also wanted to ask you about Stacey Garrity. I saw she's announcing this week she's running against Governor Shapiro next year. I don't know. I mean, I know Stacey Garrity a little bit. I've had a chance to talk to her. I know her to some degree. Very smart lady. I'll be a state treasurer and all that. But does she have a chance against Governor Shapiro? Does the fact that the governor is kind of a national figure now as well as a state figure, is that too big for any Republican to take on right now? Your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are she checks a lot of boxes. I do think she's the most formidable of the Republican candidates. She checks the boxes of she's a woman. Pennsylvania has never had a woman governor, which is almost an embarrassment, in my opinion. But they've never had a U.S. senator. They've never elected a woman U.S. senator either. She's a military veteran and decorated military veteran with service in combat situations. That's a positive check. She's also been an executive in businesses, which I think is a positive. And she's won statewide. In fact, she had more votes. She broke Josh Shapiro's record for a statewide candidate. And Donald Trump only beat her by 700-some votes in 2024. So her name has been statewide twice, and she's won for treasurer. Now, the negative is, for her, Josh Shapiro is a formidable candidate, very well polished, going to be well funded, treasurers. Somebody described it to me as this: the governor in the state, the governor is big league, major league. The attorney general is AAA. Right. The treasurer is AA, and the auditor general is single A baseball. Right. So she's really stepping up in class here. Most people don't, despite her record in getting votes, most people can't name the treasurer, and most people, other than thinking she has the combination to the vault, can't tell you what a treasurer really does.
Exactly, except that it sounds nice. It's Pennsylvania State Treasurer, and you go, oh, yeah, okay. But you're right. I mean, the governor, and then you think about the attorney general, and those are the two big ones. In fact, 3 of our last 4 governors have come from attorney general, right? So that tells you a little bit about the AAA moving up to the major leagues.
But I don't think, because, it's going to matter the national climate, too. right? I mean, if there's a Democratic surge, it's the midterm election of the president. Normally, the midterm election of the president, whoever it is not good news for the party of the president. So that could work against her or Shapiro. But she's also got, let's not, the 300-pound gorilla in the room is what is Senator Doug Mastriano going to do? He literally minutes after her announcement video came out on Monday, he went on a syndicated show and saying, that if I got into a primary, I would win it. My supporters are, and I'm not sure he's wrong, by the way, and his supporters are very excited about him running again. And this, despite the fact that we expect that Biden, in next month, when the statewide Republican Party gets together, they're going to endorse Stacey Garrity.
Right.
And Doug Mastriano said that's a mistake. That's not only putting your thumb on the scale, that's sitting on the scale, and you ought to let average Republican voters decide in the primary, not trying to do something in the back room.
Well, with all due respect to Senator Mastriano, a mistake last time was putting him in there because that was maybe the worst campaign ever run here in the state of Pennsylvania, and he took a bath with Governor Shapiro.
And if you remember, the seeds for that were sown when there were 17 candidates for governor.
Correct.
Republican candidates for governor was just unwieldy, and nobody ever got control of it. Well, the statewide party is now trying to get control of it, by all appearances, as we expect them to fall in line for Stacey Garrity.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's what's going to happen, although who knows in today's political climate for sure, my friend. Hey, always good talking to you on a Thursday morning. Thank you so much. Have fun today. Checking out the.
I will only be checking it out. I will not be sampling the ware.
I understand. I was trying to think of a very diplomatic way of saying that, but anyway, don't breathe in that much. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk to you, my friend. Always good to talk to you, and always appreciate what you're doing out there. Thanks, Dennis.
Have a great weekend, Gary.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Dennis Owens on his way today to inspect a medicinal pot growing farm. So kind of an interesting day for him. Right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK. When we come back, what do we have going on, Mark?
That's a good question.
Okay.
How about it's been the most expensive neighborhood in America for a very long time, but it has now been supplanted.
And by the way, the septic cuts that we heard about, Amtrak and those kind of things in Philadelphia could impact Amtrak service from Harrisburg to Philadelphia. We'll tell you a little bit about that as well and some of the local news that's happening near and around you. All here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOIK. It's 747.
Dancing sets her free. Best Drawn Pictures presents Dirty Dancing. She thought it would be just another summer vacation.
Who's that? Oh, them. They're the dance people.
But it turns out to be the time of her life.
Watch me now. I can't even do the merengue.
He teaches her what she can do.
I'm not sure who you are, but I don't want you to have anything to do with those people again.
Baby, I don't see you running up to Daddy telling him I'm your guy.
Will, with my father, it's complicated. I will tell him.
I don't believe you, baby.
She shows him all he can be.
You gotta stop it now.
I know what I'm doing, Penny.
I'm scared of everything. Most of all, I'm scared of walking out of this room and never feeling the rest of my whole life the way I feel when I'm with you.
What they learn from each other feels too good to be wrong. Dirty Dancing, starring Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey, and Cynthia Rhodes. Get ready for the time of your life.
It was on this date 38 years ago, 1987.
Exactly right. And Jennifer doesn't look at all now. She's had a little bit of work. She doesn't look at all now like she did back then, but none of us do. Again, recognizing National Senior Citizens Day. By the way, speaking of, hot pavement and long drives can be tough on your tires. I'm going on a little trip this weekend, and I know that. And you want to make sure your tread looks good. Your tires are properly inflated, and your spare is in good shape, too. That's a little tip from Giambalvo Kia right here in New York. And by the way, things have heated up at Giambalvo Kia, and they've got some great August savings right now. For example, you can finance the 2025 Kia Sportage at 1.9% APR for 60 months, rather. Or you can go green right now with 0% for 60 months on the 2025 Kia Niro EV. I mean, Mark, you can even lease the 2026 EV6 AWD for just $271 a month for 24 months. Now, it's a new building. They got new energy. They got serious summer savings. And you can experience the Giambalvo difference right now. And you'll see you down at Giambalvo Kia. You know, Giambalvo Kia is right down there at the corner of Roosevelt Avenue and Route 30 in New York. In fact, 1305 Roosevelt Avenue is their new place where you see that Giambalvo name. Now, the Giambalvo family of dealerships means something here in central Pennsylvania. They are a gold standard when it comes to quality, when it comes to service, when it comes to great cars being sold. And they've got a great inventory of Kias down there ready for you right now. And all you have to do is give them a call today at 717-899-4402. You can also go to giambalvokia.com, and they're open 9 to 8 today, and they're ready to see you. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you, and stop on down right now and see their new inventory, their pre-owned inventory, their certified pre-owned inventory, or maybe you'd like to even schedule service for your car. They've got great service down there as well. And again, that service is open 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. daily. Sales, 717-899-4402. Stop down and see what the Giambalvo difference is all about at Giambalvo Kia, 1305 Roosevelt Avenue, right here in New York. And tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you.
So it used to be the most expensive neighborhood in America.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Okay.
So it only makes news when someone else has taken that spot. You'll never guess where it is.
I'm already in a quandary.
You're already in a tizzy?
I am.
Here we go.
How would you like to live in Gables Estates? The fancy locale in Coral Gables takes the top spot on Zillow's most expensive neighborhood in the United States, as 7 of the 10 most expensive neighborhoods are now located in the Sunshine State. The greater Miami area has experienced an influx of wealthy people migrating in the post-COVID era. Between 2017 and 22, the wealthy, totaling more than $14 billion in income, flocked to Florida, with more than $9.2 billion going to Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties. John Saucier, Fox News.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to move there anytime soon. But, you know, one of the things that we talked about this week, and we've been talking about the budget with Dennis Owens here a moment ago and others throughout the week, the cuts to SEPTA, which is the, whole idea of, funding the L, the trains, the buses, and so forth in southeastern Pennsylvania. Right. And so Brendan Boyle, who's a representative in the state legislature, announced Monday that Amtrak officials told him operations in the Keystone service could be impacted by the service cuts. In other words, places like Harrisburg. That's because SEPTA contributes millions of dollars each year to Amtrak. And if SEPTA doesn't get funding from the state, Amtrak could lose up to $50 million in revenue, according to the congressman. He said in 2025, SEPTA paid Amtrak $71 million to cover the operation of SEPTA services on the Amtrak system. Now, that includes $42 million for capital projects and infrastructure work like track and signal upgrades. It also includes $28 million for operating costs. And operating costs, for example, connect Harrisburg to Philadelphia and New York. That's New York City. They run nearly a dozen trains every day, and Amtrak says in 2024 the line carried more than 1 million passengers. So as we watch this whole thing, it's not just isolated to Philadelphia. I mean, they connect with places like Harrisburg, places like Lancaster, and these are kind of important dollars. So when we say about the budget not being done and not knowing what SEPTA is going to get and all that, obviously that has a domino effect throughout the state, Mark.
No doubt. Hey, how about some health news?
This is House Call for Health. Is happy hour a thing of the past? You may think many Americans are pouring themselves an alcoholic beverage to relax, but a recent poll finds the number of Americans consuming alcohol has hit an all-time low, with more concerned with the effects alcohol might have on their health. Just 54% of adults say they drink alcohol, the lowest number in decades. A Gallup poll also finding that 53% of Americans believe moderate drinking is bad for their health. That's up from just 28% 10 years ago. The shift, led by young adults, comes after the Surgeon General warned Americans earlier this year about the cancer risk associated with drinking. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
I do want to remind you that this hour being brought to you by Accountability for Life. Accountability for Life provides coaches, educators, other community-based partners with character-building resource toolkits aimed at promoting the importance of accountability in all areas of a student-athlete's life by teaching and modeling the concept of integrity, requiring ownership of one's actions, i.e. accountability. And you can check them out at www.aflyorkpa.info. This is run by Coach Russ Stoner, who is the head football coach over at York High. And I'll tell you what he and his people are doing to help kids right now is amazing. And you can help. Find out ways you can help by going to www.aflyorkpa.info. That's www.aflyorkpa.info. Ladies and gentlemen, you can check them out at 755 Vogelsong Road right here in York and find out what they are all about. They're helping kids through athletics. They're getting scholarships. They're helping kids in the classroom. They're helping kids as people. And that really is what it's all about. AFLYorkPA.info and find out how you can help the kids in our community to be successful. When we come back at 8:05, Andrea Ryan checks in to tell us all what's going on around the area. And then Aaron Anderson and Corey Thurman, all still out ahead. And it happens right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Don't forget the Revs play tonight. 6:10 is airtime, 6:30 first pitch, as they try to win the series over Hagerstown. But first we take a break. It is 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show. Hour number 3. Is that right already on a Thursday morning? It's going so fast. And I'm having a good time. I'm Gary Sutton. Hope you are too. Mark McKenzie is here. It is the 21st of August, 2025. It's going by fast.
So it's Senior Citizens Day. So what kind of discounts are we going to get?
I don't know.
I can't wait to find out.
It's only 60 degrees outside. I mean, it is not that warm right now, and they got a little mist falling again, which is really obnoxious.
Not comfortable?
Not as comfortable as I'd like it to be, because I have an 11 o'clock tea time today, and I want it more comfortable than that. Could be a long pants day. I don't know. Anyway, this is the main street of York, and it's brought to you by Barley Snyder Law Firm. That's right, innovative legal solutions for your business. They are a law firm for today's business world. You can find them right here in York at 100 East Market Street. In the old bank building there, by the way. And they are open daily, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. But you can find out more about the 29 different areas they practice law in by going to barley.com. They have over 130 plus attorneys, Mark, throughout the state of Pennsylvania here. And they are ready to help you today as an individual or as a business to improve your business situation. And 29 different areas that they practice law. And it's like a one-stop shop for practicing law with people who are dedicated to getting it right for you. And they're also very involved in the community as well. I mean, a lot of the people that we meet every Tuesday morning here on our Lawyer Moment, they're involved in all aspects of the community. So there you go. Barley.com, B-A-R-L-E-Y. They are a presenting sponsor here on the Gary Sutton Show, and we're so honored to have them aboard every single week. And this hour being brought to you by Augie's Joint. Possessing what I think is the greatest chili dog that has ever been made. But this week's hot dog special, Mark, is a dog with bacon jam, fried onions, and you'll be happy to know this, Dijon mustard. Bacon jam, we talked about Bacon Day yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Fried onions and Dijon mustard in a wonderfully made roll. Now, Augie asked me to ask his wife, Jewel, what to call this one. She just said, call it good. So stop by today and try the Good Dog. That's what it's called, the Good Dog.
Good boy.
Yeah. Ask about our other weekly specials, too, and also keep a lookout for the new fall menus that are coming out. He's got new fall menus. I can't wait. I love Augie's. I stop up there regularly. You can go in the Beaver Street side of the market, the Central Market up there. That's on Beaver Street, by the way. That's why it's called the Beaver Street side. And right there at the corner of Beaver Street and Philadelphia. And go in there and you will see an array of pleasurable food that is just incredible for lunch. They're open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesdays through Saturdays, 11 a.m., or what I say, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I said again. Mark's holding up his fingers. 10 to, yes. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they're open Tuesday through Saturday. Augie's Joint. Absolutely a fantastic place to go. I suspect Andrea Ryan has been down there at the Central Market a few times. I don't know if she's tried the Augie's Doggy, but if she hasn't, I am going to push her hard on that this morning. Andrea, of course, with Explore York, and she is our favorite person every other week there because she tells us all what's going on around the community. Good morning, Andrea. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. Glad to be here.
Have you ever tried an Augie's Doggy?
No, but I was just thinking 10 to 2, it's like your driving hand position, so I'm going to drive myself down there on a soggy day and get one.
Listen to you segueing in. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm telling you what, here's the deal. The roll is like, I call it a couch for a hot dog. Because you know how sometimes you get these rolls in a hot dog roll, or you get these hot dogs in a roll and they pop out or they don't fit well? Not there. It's like they all fit together. It's like the Mona Lisa of hot dogs, the way I'm looking at it. So it all kind of works together, and it gives you this beautiful, beautiful taste at lunchtime. You'll love it. Plus, they have all kinds of other accompanied things like tater tots and all these kind of things. Just a great place. So stop on down and tell Augie I sent you. and that you are exploring for York. You had another taste, see? Hey, so what do we have going on in the community right now? We got a lot of stuff happening around here, and there's no one. You're the grand poobah of community information and what's happening, so I wanted to check in with you this morning.
Thank you. Well, hey, do you play chess by any chance?
I do play chess. I won't say I'm a master, but I'm okay. I mean, I can get through it. I'm 2 or 3 moves ahead, not some of these geniuses that are 10 moves ahead, but yeah, I do play chess.
Yeah. Well, there's a weekly chess club meetup that happens every Thursday, 6 to 8 p.m. at In Between Pages Bookstore, which is now on South Duke Street in York.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Here's a problem I have. I'd worry that they'd laugh at me if you play chess like that, Gary. Really? I'm a guy who will give it a try. I would go down and do that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it might be like when you go to the poker parties in your neighborhood. They're probably glad if you're not good.
Well, yeah.
So they can beat you.
You're an easy mark. I mean, that's what happens. But okay, all right. Well, I'll give that a go. So I've got that down on my list already this morning. So you started me off with a little thinking, and I appreciate that, as always. And so what else do we have going on there, kid?
Well, one of the things I keep meaning to talk about is the Mural Park in Royal Square District, and it's just right around the corner from In Between Pages.
Okay.
And it's a great thing to go see because there's more than 30 larger-than-life murals, all in a one-block radius.
Oh, yeah.
Just, shipping containers with giant murals, artists from York County as well as, national and even international ones. And you don't need a ticket. It's supposed to be a nicer day this afternoon, once it clears up. So, after golf, it'd be a great time to get down there, check out the
in between my golf, I'll go down there, and then I have to come here to the stadium to do a game tonight. So, yeah, I'll work. Right, yeah. I will work that in. But no, you're occupying hours of my day. It's Senior Citizens Day, so I have to, figure out what I'm doing here. First of all, I have to figure out who I am and where I'm going and how I'm getting there. But no, that's I got it. So good stuff. So what else is happening?
So tomorrow, Motor Menders Cruise Night back at the markets at Shrewsbury, 4 to 7. Great place to see hundreds of classic cars. Get some dinner while you're down there.
I've noticed we really like that stuff here in York County. People love cars, and they go around and they look at the different motors and stuff. Now, I am not one of those. To me, give me a motor, give me a car, get me from here to there, I'm a happy guy. But there are people who really get into that stuff, and it's really neat to see. So,
yeah, it's
good.
Cool.
So that's a good one. Yeah. We love cars here in York County. So what else?
So I think that York County this weekend's a little bit like that Don and Marie song, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. You remember that one?
Yes, I do. I'm a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. Yeah, okay, I got the song, and I just buried it. But go ahead.
So Gimme Roy is at the Gift Horse. That starts at 7.
Okay.
And they play what they call unapologetic rock.
Unapologetic rock. Now, what is that? That sounds kind of negative to me, but it kind of sounds positive too. So, what is unapologetic rock?
I mean, I don't really know. I think they just play what they want to play, and they have a good time. So it sounds like something to go check out.
I wonder if they say they're sorry at the end of each song. I don't know. No.
Good local band, though. And then speaking of local bands, if you're more into country, Jake Mock, he'll be at Vortex.
Okay.
He's an artist from Glen Rock, but he's also this year's winner of the Best Male Country Artist by the CPMAs.
Really?
For those of you, so that's the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame.
Okay, so Jake Knox.
That's kind of a big deal.
That is kind of a big deal. Yeah, I mean, way to go. I've kind of gravitated more toward country over the years than I ever did before. I hated it at one time. And I really like the country rock kind of stuff, but I find myself listening to country music more. It's always either about the truck, the girl you lost, or whatever else. But those two seem to dominate the topics there most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
and both of those locations, they have dog-friendly patios. So if you want to bring your dog along, we talk about bringing kids along, but if you want to bring your dog along, you can. Both of those places have wonderful outdoor seating.
Wow.
That are pet friendly.
Yeah, dogs are becoming the big part of taking to a game. But you know what they don't have? I have 3 cats at home. They don't have cat friendly places. You don't hear people say, "Hey, bring your cat." First of all, our cats wouldn't come anyway because they're kind of stuck up. But the dog wants to go places with you. When you leave home, the dog thinks it's forever. every time you leave the house and when you come back, who's more joyous than the dog? I mean, the cat never cheers the fact you're back home, but the dog does, right?
Nope, and they never ask how much money you spent.
No, that's true. So anyway, well, I'm glad to hear it's dog friendly. So we're working on that anyway. So what else is happening in the New York area?
Well, Saturday is Brew Kids on the Block, which is like an 80s, 90s street party and beer festival. And I know last year I was there, they had an epic Nerf dart battle. And I understand they're going to contain it a little bit this year because it might have gotten a little out of hand last year. It was so much fun.
Oh.
But you go downtown, lots of great music. People dress up like they're from the 80s. Have a big Nerf battle, drink some beer, and
wow,
it's fun.
That sounds like fun. I mean, I would definitely go for that. So sounds like a good deal there.
Yeah, and if you go down, say hi to Mary April. She's Explore York's very own, and she's a volunteer. So when you check in, you get your epic glasses that are part of your admission.
Mary's good people. I've known Mary for a lot of years, but yeah, that's all good. So have a little fun and celebrate the 80s and have fun here in York. York is just really a neat place to have a lot of fun with. I mean, there's a lot of little hidden gems here around the downtown area, as you describe so well every other week, and I just think it's a fun place to be.
It really is. We got all kinds of new walking tours, and this sadly, as you mentioned, fall's on the way, and not too many days of summer left. The Sounds of Summer concert series at Spring Park, it's winding down. There's only 2 more shows left.
Well, but
one's on Sunday.
Here's the way you say it. There are 2 great shows left, and that's what it's all about. There's 2 great shows left. So, see, I don't want it to sound like it's ending. It's like in here where Mark and I are. It's summertime every day. I mean, it's just you feel that. I know you feel that buoyancy when we talk.
You're a glass half full kind of guy. I love that about you.
Always. Final couple of places that we can get to this week, and then we're going to find out in a couple of weeks about a few more as we head into the the October, the fall of the year. But tell me a couple more things that are happening here, Andrea.
Yeah, sure. So on Saturday, the Great Northern Central Train Rail Raid is happening. So they have two departure times, and it's fun to come out and see the epic battle to capture the gold on board the Northern Central Railway of York train.
Yeah, and that's a good one too. And one final one for us before we leave here today, the coup de grace, if you will.
Well, I would say get your tickets for the Revolutionary York Walking Tour on August 29th.
Ooh.
So that's next Friday. And it's a newer tour. You leave downtown York, and you get to walk around in the various streets where our founding fathers wrote the, what am I trying to think of? The preamble to the Declaration. Articles of Confederation. I need some more coffee.
No, it's fine. No, I get it. The 9 months that they were here, and and then they came up with our first form of government. Didn't work out that well. I mean, we used it for 8 years, but nevertheless, it was something. It was a start. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you got to learn about how when York was the capital city of the entire United States.
Right. And there is no truth to the fact that Mark and I were here with them at that time. So there's just no truth to that at all here on National Senior Citizens Day. But, we really appreciate what you do. And again, people can go find more about this at yorkpa.org. The people at Explore York do such a great job of getting things out here. And then when you go down to the Central Market, you can find your magazine there and all those kind of things. So really appreciate what you do every other week with us. We wish it was every week, but, we got to keep them wanting it a little bit now and then. You know what I'm talking about, Andrea?
Yeah, and we appreciate the chance to be on here and share all the great things that are happening in York County.
Well,
it's a lot of fun here.
And no one does it better than you do, and just really appreciate it. Again, go to yorkpa.org and check it out. But the people from Explore York, just doing a wonderful job talking about the great things about our town, the great things about our area here in York County. It is the main street of York. That's what we talk about every day, and we love to talk about it with you. Andrea, thank you so much, and have a great weekend, and try that Augie's Doggy. I'm telling you.
I'm there.
You'll love it. You'll love it. And thanks so much for being with us. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, okay?
Sounds great. You have a great rest of your day.
Andrea Ryan here on the Gary Sutton Show, a mainstay every other week. And you can find all about what's going on in York at yorkpa.org. That's yorkpa.org. Check it out. We take a break. We'll be back with more right after this on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Swings, lines it the other way, down the line in left field. It is down at one, hops the wall. Around third is Lewis. Davis to third. Fontana slides in ahead of the throw at second. It's an 11-game hitting streak. And the Revs are on the board. It's 3-1 here in the sixth. Swinging a rip base hit into left field. Davis scores. They are sending Fontana. The throw won't get him. He scores standing. And William Simonite ties it up. A 2-run single ripped into left. And we start over. It's 3-3 here in the sixth inning, and they have chased Henriquez from the game.
Yeah, they had a guy named John Enriquez who pitched last night for Hagerstown, and he was dynamite. I mean, really pitched well into the sixth inning. He was winning 3-0, and the Revs caught him, scored 3 runs in the sixth inning. But unfortunately, the Revs only scored that 1 inning. And in the ninth inning, it was 1 run getting in there for Hagerstown, and they won 4-3 last night. Hagerstown had an interesting thing, Mark. They had 3 doubles with a man on first, and they scored on every one of those doubles, all the way from first to home, which is unusual.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
Yeah, I mean, the doubles that they hit were down in the corners, and it was tough getting to, and one came off the wall, and it was just kind of crazy. So anyway, by the way, one of the things we did not mention with Andrea was that the Revs are home this weekend, and coming into town is Charleston from West Virginia for the weekend. They'll be in for a 3-game series starting tomorrow night. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, it is for you ladies, the first 750 ladies who come, you're going to get a crossbody bag, a Revs crossbody bag. I'm looking at it here. I don't carry a crossbody bag. It's not something we guys talk about much. But for ladies, you know who you are. That you're going to get a free crossbody bag tomorrow night for the first 750 ladies only. And then there's special vendor shopping on the concourse tomorrow night, post-game jewelry find, thanks to Smith Jewelers. That's going to be the post-game jewelry find, whatever that all amounts to. And ladies get in free tomorrow night. So, you guys, you want to be a hero? Get your ladies out here tomorrow night. They get in free. Yeah, it's a ladies' night. Yeah, right here at Rev Stadium. And again, the first 750, so be the first ones in, get the free crossbody bag with the Revs on there. So it's very attractive looking for what I could see here. Again, not carrying one of those. I don't know, much about it, but my wife, I'll have to check with my wife. My wife always tells me about the quality. By the way, some news you might have missed.
Okay.
A store opened in, China that sells life-size robots for cooking, cleaning, and other housework. Customers can't wait to use them for sex. No, I know. Now, come on. That's not right. It is National Senior Citizens Day, or as the Senate calls it, Thursday.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we already celebrated this in February, although for some reason we called it President's Day. I don't know. President's Day. You get where I'm going with that, yeah. Let's see. ICE plans to double immigrant detention space. You thought Alligator Alcatraz was bad? Wait until you see Crocodile Clink. Crocodile Clink, where they do the Crocodile Rock. A quarter of Americans want to take a break from sex, so they just get married. I mean, no. Again, the poor taste there on that part. Let's see. President Trump says the Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. He instead wants it to focus on how good it was for the slave owners. So I don't think the president, I don't think he's pushing that. It's a rough day today. Let's see. The average adult inhales 70,000 microplastics a day. This is a scary number. Yeah. Over a year, that's enough to make a credit card or a Madonna cheekbone, you see.
Madonna cheekbone.
Yeah. Let's see. The Cambridge Dictionary is adding 6,000 new words. That's awesome. What's a dictionary, asked Gen Z. So, updated TSA guidelines say it's okay to have live lobsters in your luggage, but only if you register them as emotional support animals. So that I have my emotional support lobster with me. Do you think anybody's going to buy that in TSA?
Emotional support appetizer.
Don't think so. Anyway, a new survey says that reading for pleasure has fallen by 40% in the last few decades. Meanwhile, reading online user agreements remain steady at 0%. Yeah, that's it. A new report says that claims that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has hundreds of agents on his security detail, -2 if you don't count his personal bartender and his DJ.
Oh.
So yeah, that would be that. It's a free it's a free opportunity zone here for everybody.
Yes.
You can see that. Let's see what we have here. Johnny Depp wants to date Angelina Jolie. And when Johnny wants something, he gets it, which is why he never takes a bath. So I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't either.
Let's see. Kristen Dunst says she'd like to do a movie that makes money for a change. You and me both, sister, replied Rob Schneider. So, yeah.
Although she's,
Yeah. So there you have some of the news you might have missed. We had it.
Let's talk about some tech news.
Yes.
Now, have you ever taken a photo with your phone and then wished you could edit it?
No, because I don't take photos with my phone.
Really? You don't?
Oh, I mean selfies. I do take photos with my
Well,
phone.
yes.
I guess I have. Yeah, I
Yes.
guess I didn't answer that.
Now,
I
you
guess I
can
have.
resize it, you can move it, that kind of thing, and some of the other phones.
Take people out of it.
Yes, but Google has got a new update.
Photo editing used to be the work of highly specialized artists and technicians. Nowadays, photo editing apps are both more advanced and more accessible to more people, not just photography professionals. But what if you could just edit your photo by asking? Google has that now. Unveiled Wednesday at their Made by Google event, Google Photos will now have a feature in which the user can simply ask the app to perform a desired edit of their image. They can ask by voice or even by typing the request into the prompt. And yes, it is powered by Google's Gemini AI. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Google, could you take a few pounds off?
Yeah, it make me look better. Put some hair on my head.
Yes.
Yeah, do that kind of thing.
Yes.
Maybe Google could do that.
Maybe.
I do want to remind you, Mark, that this hour is being brought to you by Augie's Joint. Right up there at Central Family Market. You can go in the Beaver Street side. You can go in the other side, too, but you go in the Beaver Street side. It's really easy because you step inside the door, and there they are, and you'll have a better chance of getting in line quicker. You don't have to race down the aisles to beat people because it's become the place to go at lunchtime. Yeah, Augie's Joint, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. They're right there at the market. And maybe you don't want to try the Augie's Doggy. Maybe you want to try a Reuben dog. A Reuben dog, Mark. Thousand Island, sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, and caraway seed on a hot dog. I mean, I'm just telling you, they explore the hot dog down there in a way that no one else does. Or the Augie's Deluxe. Ribeye, steak, or chicken breast, lettuce, tomato, fried onions, pickle, bacon, house sauce, and cheese. And many other delights that only Augie can provide. So why don't you check them out and ask about upgrading to a combo? Yeah, where you get 3 tater tots, a cookie, and a drink. You could do that too. All at Augie's Joint. And don't forget the Augie's Doggy, the greatest, chili dog in the world, period. It's all down there today at Augie's Joint. And they're open today at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Tuesday through Saturday. Get on down there right now and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Augie's Joint and have lunch there today. It is the place to go at lunchtime. Augie's place, Augie's Joint, right there at the Beaver Street side of the Central Family Market, yes, Central Market. Head on in there today and enjoy Augie's at lunchtime. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Aaron Anderson. We're going to ask him what he thinks about the federalizing of taking care of crime prevention in Washington, D.C. And is it the right way to go? We'll also ask about the first week of school at Logos Academy and how that's all going and what the main topics are this year as they get into education earlier than ever, but all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 8:30. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK on a Thursday morning, 8:35, and little music coming back here, and not quite sure who that is.
Jesus Jones, right here, right now.
Right here, right now.
You don't remember that?
Okay.
It was a big song.
Yeah, I do. I kind of vaguely remember it. Yeah. Right here, right now.
That's not the hook.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is the hook. That's the hook.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK, and we're so glad to be with you here this morning. And we're also glad to have in Aaron Anderson, who was, I believe, on vacation last week and took the week off, and we were sad about it. We basically were thinking about canceling the rest of the show, but we didn't. And he, of course, is the CEO of Logos Academy and a lead pastor at Living Word Church. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, and I'm so glad that you didn't cancel your show.
We hung on. I mean, we just barely hung on, but it was, it was a task. It really was, and it's good to have you back today. But how'd the first week of school go, by the way? Getting kids back into class and getting going again, and getting back in the routine.
So far, so good. You've had here we are, a couple days in. Kindergarten students came yesterday. The rest of the students started the day before. So, yeah, so far, so good. It's off to a good year.
Is there a theme there that you have each year? Do you kind of, you're a guy that leads the school, and then you sit down with your teachers and your administrators and so forth. Is there a theme that you go after each year? Or is it kind of the same thing each year?
No, every single year we do a little bit different theme. Our theme typically is driven from something in the scriptures, and this year's theme is about overcoming, and so that's we want to help our students be kids who don't sit around and think of themselves just as victims or as helpless, but with God's help they can overcome and do some great things. So that's from John 16, where Jesus said, "Take heart, I've overcome the world." So we think that's a good value for kids to have, is that a bit of that grit that they can overcome.
I like that. Being able to deal with problems and deal with things that come up and be accountable to oneself and all that. That sounds a pretty good thing. Teaching about independence a bit, but also with God's help there. I like that's really good. Hey, I wanted to ask you a question. You're a guy that deals with a lot of aspects of our community, and obviously the York County Safety Collab is an idea that you helped to arrive at. And I was looking at what's happening right now in Washington, D.C., and the president has federalized a lot of National Guardsmen and people like that to come in. They've apparently cut down crime like 50% in the short period of time that's been going on there. I don't know that it's a good look. I don't know that it seems like a really good thing. And yet at the same time, I was reading a piece today in the Wall Street Journal about that areas with high crime are really thankful for this. And it looked like Muriel Bowser, who's the mayor there, and other members of the law enforcement community are working together with these people. It seems like it's effective, and yet there's a part of us, I think, that recoils at seeing what looks like not an armed camp, but a police presence that's so heavy. And yet we also look at the kind of crime that's been down there, and we say, something had to be done. What's your take on that?
Yeah, these things are so complex in my mind, Gary. Because on one hand, I was reading a piece that said they've already removed, I think, 75 homeless camps from the different places. So on one hand, you can see, and if you've been to D.C. or you've been to any major city where we've talked about the challenge of homelessness and even the rising homelessness in our own county, it's like it is a challenge. I think as a Christian, I'm always going to start from a place of compassion and look at that and say, like, man, this is there's a lot of people out there who are struggling and they don't want to be homeless. There are a certain number of people, I think I've said before, that 1 out of 6 is one of the data points I've heard, that people who actually want to live on the streets. They don't want to. They don't want to be. They don't want to be sheltered somewhere, and they won't go somewhere like a Life Path or a Bell socialization. So I think that becomes complicated is how do we help people? How do we not just punish people? I think there's probably some question about, when you're going in and clearing an area, are you really reducing crime? Maybe you are in that area, or are you pushing it? Are you just pushing those folks into another area that's going to soon be an issue? I have more questions, Gary, than I have answers. I get a little exasperated anytime anytime Trump does something. There's always a massive reaction to Trump,
right?
Which I understand. It's like you almost can't even talk about the issue because if Trump did it, then it's going to be a hot topic. These are complicated issues for our communities to solve. They're better solved when we work together.
Yeah.
To try to come up with good solutions.
Well, I look at it and I say to myself, okay. I see the number of homeless people on the street, but when I go to a city, for example, when people are coming up and squeegeeing my windows or coming to the window and asking for stuff, there's awkward moments. I try to help my fellow man whenever I can. I do it anonymously a lot because that's just the way I like to do things. But and I think there are a lot of people who are like me in that regard. But I also think that the public has a right. Washington, D.C. is one of the most visited cities, obviously, in the world and in our country. It's our capital. And shouldn't you feel safe when you go down there? Shouldn't there be a sense of safety? I don't like the idea of National Guardsmen at Union Station, and that's where a lot of them are. I don't like the idea of that. And yet, I say to myself, what do I like more, National Guardsmen there or crime there? And I always would side on the side of, I'd sooner be safe when I go to the city with my family or whatever. And so, does the public have a right to say when you come to our nation's capital? You ought to feel like, okay, I'm not going to, the biggest word I'm not going to be yelling is duck, or turning people down who are coming to me every 2 seconds. That's not what I want to see in the nation's capital or in any city. In York, Pennsylvania, for example, I don't want to see that, and yet I do see it on a regular basis.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of not long ago, in New York City, the subway system having some real significant issues of violence on the subways.
Correct.
People with their struggling with mental health issues so I think this is one of those examples of where I don't think we have to choose one or the other. I don't think we have to choose safety or compassionate help and resources. I think we can do both. I think, and
I agree with you, by the way. I totally agree with where you're at.
Yeah, I think that's what most people, when you engage in these conversations, would say. I don't want to have to choose like a dominant military police presence or compassion. I'm like, can we not have good public safety that's kind and respectful to people, but also can we have spaces where where people can ride public transportation and not be afraid at night if a woman's coming home from her job that she's going to be attacked and on a subway system. I think it's a false dichotomy. So I think we have to do both, and that's really at the heart of what we're trying to do in the Safety Collab is say, look, police have a hard job to do here in our county. Let's equip them and resource them the best we can, but let's also help them have really good relations with the public to build trust. We think it's a both and. It's not an either or.
The other part of this, we talk about the homeless, we talk about people who are having tough times, but I see people at the same place every week, the same times. And I say to myself, and this is just me, and I'm not being awful because, as I said, I do give people money, I do help people out, but I think, have you gone to find a job? Have you, here you are, the same place every week. What are you doing that's different in your life that might help things to work a little bit better? I was reading an article in Washington when I was down a couple of years ago doing a show down there. And there was an article that was done, a lady did an article for the Washington Post. And she followed a homeless person one day who was out collecting it. And she saw her out there every day. So she said, I'm going to write a story about this lady. So she just observed her. And at the end of each day, she would get done. She would walk around the block, crawl in a Bentley, and drive away. And you say, and it was her car. And you go, wait a second. There's someone who's kind of bilking the public. Now, again, I don't know if that's a majority, minority. I would suspect it's probably a minority of people who do that. But it was a business. And so people look at that and they say, am I being bilked? I don't normally think about that when I'm helping somebody. Okay, I think, okay, I'm doing this in a good spirit. I hope you're taking it in a good spirit. I hope you're using it in a good spirit. But if you're not, that's with you and God, you and somebody else to deal with. But there are stories about that by people who use this as a business. I see people who drop people off from vans, who are standing out in the median strip, who are holding a bucket or whatever, and then at the end of the day they get picked up again. A question crosses my mind for maybe a half a second, and then I wonder, okay, what the heck? I'm still there to help as a person in the public. What are your thoughts about that, both as a clergyman and both as a person who is a citizen out there as well?
Yeah, I mean, you remember there was a story, Gary, recently here, sad story of a guy that was down at Richland and Market who was actually shot and killed. And I don't know that we understand the motive.
Right.
The guy was caught, but this particular guy who was homeless was murdered. And I remember the story afterwards, his sister came out and talked about how the family had tried to help this particular guy. He would make, just enough money off of panhandling in that location, but lots of people were trying to help him. And I remember, I've been on the board of LifePath, people going around to specific people who are out trying to get them in, trying to give them help. Like I said, I think there are a certain number of people, a percentage of that population that don't want to help. I think one of the things that I've resisted, and I'm not suggesting you're doing this, but is the caricature all homeless people based on the number that we actually see that are panhandling, holding signs. Most. And
you're right. I don't. I look at each individual,
you're not doing
and
that.
I'm not doing that. And again, I continue to help people, and I don't really discriminate when it comes to that, or think about it as deeply as I'm thinking about it right here. So yeah.
Exactly. And I know you personally, and I know you're not doing that. I look at I think of kids in our community, the number of homeless kids that are still here. Most of them you'll never see because their families are couch surfing. They're moving around here and there. They just don't have a permanent place. They don't want to be homeless. And so, as I look at this, I've really focused my own help and my own aid. As much as my heart goes out to people who are holding a sign, I'm really focused on giving and our church supporting people like Bell, LifePath, CPC, people in our community who are actually helping to come alongside people, walking with them. I mean, there's
known entities that what kind of history they have in the work they're doing. Yeah, couldn't agree with you more on that, Aaron. And a tough subject. I mean, it really is a tough subject. And again, they're people, they're fellow human beings, they're fellow citizens, and I think all of us have a heart to want to help. Hey, thank you for a great discussion this morning, my friend. I really appreciate it. Good luck with school, and I hope the mission is achieved this year as well as you do it every other year, because you guys do a great job over there at Logos. And again, thanks for all your advice and your thoughts this morning and your insights. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks,
God
Aaron.
bless you, man.
Aaron Anderson,
Sure.
you too. Aaron Anderson right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Corey Thurman, who was a pitcher here for the York Revolution for 8 years, joins us next as we talk about how do you deal with pressure. We're going to ask Corey about that in a short segment we have coming up right after this. The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here. Final few minutes, and we are so fortunate again, as we're doing each week. Corey Thurman, who pitched for the York Revolution here for 8 years. We talked about him being a real artist when it comes to being a pitcher with us here this morning. And wanted to talk with him a little bit today about dealing with pressure. You know, I watch a lot of guys in pressure situations in any sport or in business or whatever it might be. And Corey, first of all, good morning. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, Sud? How you doing, man? Doing well, sir.
Doing well. Great to have you on. But, you know, dealing with pressure as an athlete, you had to deal with that. As a person in life, you have to deal with that. As a school board member, you had to deal with that. As whatever you do, wherever you go, we're dealing with pressure. And I wanted to get a tip from you this morning maybe on how do we deal with pressure? How did you deal with pressure as a pitcher and then take it out over to real life? Give us a couple thoughts on that this morning.
You know what? Dealing with the pressure is one of those things that, like, you know, what did Billie Jean King say? Pressure is a privilege. Ooh. And so I've always looked at it like that because that was one of the greatest quotes I heard when she went against, what was it, Bobby, whatever his name was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did their thing there with the tennis thing. And like, I've always looked at pressure as a privilege because if you have the pressure, that means everyone believes in you. And so for me, it's like I put more pressure on myself to believe in self. And when I talk about that kind of thing, it's like anything else you do in life, no matter what it is, being a father, being a husband, being a baseball player, and on down the line, and everything, and a coach, and everything you do, the pressure is to make other people around you be the best versions of themselves.
Wow.
And so for me, I've always worked on if I can be the best version of myself as the starting pitcher, the guy with the ball in his hand, because the one with the gold is king. So I made sure when I had the ball in my hand, I tried to take the pressure off of everyone else to where they can just do their job. If I throw a strike, you can just field the ground ball and you can just throw it to first. You know what I mean? And the first baseman can deal with that pressure. And everyone deals with their own pressure as they do it. And so I don't look at pressure as a negative thing. I think it's a positive because that means people around you expect your greatness. And you should always expect your greatness more than people around you.
And you deal with kids a lot. You're helping kids learn sport. You're helping kids learn a thing. Do you talk about pressure at all with kids and how you deal with those moments?
Yes, sir. Because the thing is that a lot of kids, they worry about, okay, when the bases are loaded, what's going to happen? If this is going on, what's going to happen? I say just throw a strike.
Yeah.
Just throw a strike. It's that simple. And, like, you know, and a lot of times in life, I liken it to this. I ask kids this all the time. What's 2 plus 2? And they'll tell me 4 right away. And I'm like, okay, then what's 8,437 plus 9,231? And then I'm like, I don't even remember what I just said, but I do know that the more commas and the more numbers and the more things we add, we feel like that's more pressure. It's still just simple addition. If we can keep it simple, 2 plus 2, we know that's 4. So I know that I just need to throw a strike right now. I can't get a strikeout with one strike. I can get an out with one strike, but I can't get a strikeout. And a lot of people focus on strikeouts. I just worried about getting an out. Let me throw this one pitch to get an out. Now, when I get to 2 strikes, then I can figure out if I want to go for the strikeout or not. Because I have 2 strikes now, and all I need to throw is another strike, like I've already done the first 2 strikes. So if I just keep it focused on just throwing one strike, 2 plus 2, life is a lot simpler that way.
I'll tell you what. Short segment with you this morning, my friend, but I wrote this down. Pressure is a privilege. I've never heard that in all my years of coaching and everything. That is really a neat statement, that pressure is a privilege. That means you're getting the chance to be on the stage, and and what you do at that moment, just think about one thing, throw the strike. So you gave me 2 thoughts this morning. Hey, I'm looking forward to getting together with you again next week. We'll have a little bit more time, hopefully. But, you know, it's always good. And, man, nuggets. You gave me some nuggets today to deal with, my friend. Thank you so very much.
You got it, Gary, man. We'll talk soon, man. Enjoy the show. Everyone out there, man, looking forward to talking to you all again.
Thanks, Corey. We'll do it next week.
All right, we'll talk.
Corey Thurman, making everybody around you better. That's what I've always thought about great players. They make everybody around them better. Corey Thurman made everybody around him better when he pitched for the Revs for 8 years, Mark. But pressure is a privilege. Wow, I've never heard that before. My one thing about life is the ball will always find the hands of the least skilled player in the most pressure-packed moment, and it's what the character of that player is that will determine what that moment's going to look like. And that's where championships are born. Character wins championships. Talent wins games. Just a thought on that this morning. By the way, don't forget this hour has been brought to you by Augie's Joint, right there at the corner of Roosevelt Avenue. Good, I'm so used to saying that. At the corner of Philadelphia and Beaver. It's on the Beaver Street side of the Central Market. And you get in there today between 10 and 2, and you can check out things like the taco dog, taco meat, pico de gallo, cheese, and sour cream. They've got every kind of hot dog you can humanly imagine, including the Augie's Doggy. But I'll tell you what, today they've got a dog called the Good Dog. The Good Dog, yeah. Check it out today. When you get down there, ask about the Good Dog, because Jewel, who is Augie's wife, just came up with that today. And Augie was telling me a little bit about the idea that this dog has on it. Now, check this out. A bacon jam, fried onions, and Dijon mustard. Bacon jam, fried onions, and Dijon mustard. And he asked Jewel what to call it, and she said, well, it's just good. So try the Good Dog today down at Augie's. They're open 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, right there on the Beaver Street side of the Central Market. Stop in and see them. They are the hottest place for lunch right now. Brent and his wife Jewel and Elijah are cooking up a storm for you. Ask about combos. They got them all. Ask about all the other sandwiches they have, from burgers to cheesesteaks. They've got it all going on right there at Augie's. For Mark McKenzie today, thank you so much for joining us here on the Gary Sutton Show. Don't forget the Revs playing the rubber match of that 3-game series tonight with Hagerstown. 6:10 is airtime. Daryl and I will be on the air at 6:10. 6:30 is the first pitch. We're looking forward to that. Don't forget, big weekend coming up with Charleston. Ladies, first 750 get in tomorrow night. Get that cross-body bag. First 750 tomorrow night. When it's ladies' night, you get in free here. Guys, great chance to be a hero. Take that lady out on a date tomorrow night here at Wellspan Park. For Mark McKenzie, I'm Gary Sutton. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow at 6. It is 9 o'clock.